Are you settled, Judge Makaula?
I'm trying to,
No, just relax. You're in good company.
it's not easy at all.
And
Thank you, TCJ.
first, before I start leading the candidate, I should disclose that he and I have known each other since we were young students. We are good friends, but that does not affect anything that happens here. Right. You hold 3 degrees, Judge Makaula, a BUris and LLB from the then University of Transkei.
That's correct. That's the correct
And
decision.
a master's from Georgetown University.
Correct decision. That's true.
Did you specialize in any particular field for your master's?
I specialized in international criminal law as well as labor law.
Right.
And I even did my internship on labor issues.
You started your legal career in 1984
That's correct.
as a clerk. I take it that would have been at the Magistrates Court.
Yes, that was at the Magistrates Court, Mount Frey. I had a bursary, which required us to work during holidays.
And you worked as an interpreter.
Yes, I worked as an interpreter. In fact, I worked almost all the offices in the magistrate's office.
And you rose through the ranks, you became a prosecutor and then a magistrate.
Yes, I rose through the ranks. I was a prosecutor since 1986. I think June moved to legal planning in the Department of Justice and then back to the magistrate's office as a magistrate.
But then you decided to leave public service and did articles of clerkship.
Yes, I was recruited by the late Justice Dugada, who offered to give me the salary I was earning, so I couldn't resist that. And then I went to do my articles with him at DZ Dugada and Company.
And then you practiced as an attorney for some time.
Yes, I started in 1993. I was in partnership with Svile Sandile for 17 years before I was appointed.
You've been a judge of the High Court since 2010.
Yes, TCJ, I've been a judge from 2010.
Okay.
Having acted for 3 years prior that.
How long have you acted at the Supreme Court of Appeal?
I started on the 1st of December, 1st of December or January, I can't recall, but I've been acting since January till on Friday, the 30th of September.
So that was your 3rd term then?
That was my 3rd term, yes.
All right. How many judgments did you produce during your acting stint at the Supreme Court of Appeal?
During the first term, I produced 1. Then the second term, I produced 2. Then this term, I produced 3. The 3rd term.
So you have 6?
I have 6, yes. I have 6 now.
Were you able to keep up with the rigors of the court? How did you fare?
I fared very well. I fared very well. I was able to keep up.
Were you able to deliver your judgments in time within the 3-month period stipulated in the norms and standards?
I was, except for Sitau, which was quite an involved matter. Otherwise, the rest have been delivered within term.
I allocated you the judgment in Sitau.
Yes, TCJ.
And just repeat again why you say you delayed the judgment there?
It was delayed because it was quite an involved judgment. It had a lot of volumes which I had to scroll through, and even I had to go through about, I think the core bundles themselves were about 7 or 8.
I think it's the GCB, well, both the GCB and the BLA are not entirely happy with your candidature. The BLA doubts that you are ready to join the SA at this stage. And then the GCB makes reference to a concern that is not new where you are concerned. It's something that has been raised with you in a previous interview here.
Yes.
That you have a tendency to delay delivering judgments. What do you want to say something on that?
Yes, I just
And
want to...
they've specified a period that you have reserved judgments for a period ranging from 5 to 7 months.
Yes, Mr. Jane. It's not in my nature to reserve judgments. It depends entirely on the circumstances under which I find myself in. Like, for instance, I've checked on the judgments which apparently the GCB is referring to, and I was able to pull out the roll for that term, which I have in front of me. May I just go through it,
Yes.
DCJ? Yes. During the period of February, which is the concern, I picked up 4 judgments which they were talking about. During that term, it starts on the 10th of February. I was doing duty. The following week, I was doing appeals in Grahamstown. And the third week from there, the 9th of March 2020, I was doing duty as well. And I was able to pick up the roll as well as my book. I pick up no less than 4 judgments during that period. That is the first week on the 10th. And then again, I pick up about 2 judgments on the 17th, the week of the 17th of February. And because these matters which they refer to are quite involved, I took time to deliver those judgments. It was not because they were the only matters which I had, but it is because that there were other matters which I had to attend to as well. And it's not easily done. The JP will confirm that. It's not easily done in the Eastern Cape that you are allocated duty this week, and then the following week you are allocated appeals, and then the third week thereafter you are also allocated appeals. We made a resolution that in the event that a judge has to do duty or appeals, it must be twice in a term, not in succession. Because once you are it's done in succession, you are likely to be swamped. You are going to pick up judgments which are going to swamp you. And even the following term, which deals with the 2020, I think it's 2021. This is for 2020, those judgments which were affected in 2020. Then the other judgments which were affected were, in fact, I've got the here, that is in March 2021. A similar thing occurred. I was on duty in 2 successive weeks.
All right.
And in that event, DCJ, it's not easy at all. I don't take away what they are saying, but it's not easy when you pick up more than 3 or 4 judgments to deliver all of them in time.
All right, let's just go back to your stint at the SCA. You listed 2 reserve judgments as outstanding when you submitted your application. Well, I know for a fact that Stau has been delivered. What about the other one, Diljan?
It has been delivered and it was reported as well. I think Diljan was reported. No, it's Paloi which was reported.
Sorry?
It's Paloi that was reported as a reported judgment. Diljan was delivered on time as well.
It was delivered?
Yes. Okay. It was delivered in term, during term. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. I just want to go back to your judgment writing ability. And I just want you to respond to my question as honestly as you can. Do you believe that you are at a stage where you can write a good judgment without the need to be handheld by the rest of the judges panel around you?
I believe
Have
so.
you reached that stage where you can write a good judgment on your own?
Yes, I believe I can do that.
You have?
Yes.
But that was not my experience in the 6-hour matter. It was a struggle to get a judgment out in that matter.
No,
As I recall, even when senior colleagues had made their inputs up to the stage of conference,
not
when I had already left the court, because I was not there during the conference, and a letter was circulated by one of the senior judges in the panel, pointing out that after the conference where all the final inputs will be made, and the scribe, which was you in the case, has been given all those well, not suggestions, all those edits to implement. Still, the judgment that came out was not correct. It had to be corrected substantially. And that gave me the impression now that you had struggled just to proofread your own judgment. Was that not the case?
It must have been the case, but I think I spoke to Judge Dambuza because I had a problem with my secretary. She sent a wrong judgment. And Judge Dambuza is aware.
I'm sorry, just repeat that.
What I'm saying is the secretary sent a wrong judgment. And if you look at it, the CJ, even that judgment that was sent, it did not highlight all the comments which were necessary in terms of colors. Like you normally, as the scribe would be yellow, the others red, but she just circulated a wrong judgment.
Mm-hmm. But you do understand that at the end of the day, the judgment is yours, it's not the secretary's.
Exactly.
So it is your duty to ensure that what is circulated to the rest of the colleagues is the right thing.
Exactly, it is my duty. And if, I'm not computer literate, unfortunately. If she says she sent the right judgment, and then it is discovered that it's a wrong judgment, to an extent, what we did with Judge Dambuza, or Justice Dambuza, is that we changed the secretary and used her own secretary. Just because of the same reason I'm talking about, because she kept on making mistakes after mistakes. And then Judge Dambuza suggested that we should use Bongile, that is her secretary.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and in fact, eventually it is her, if you look at it, who eventually ran with the judgment until it was delivered. Because the secretary I was allocated was really battling.
One last question from me on this aspect. I'm not talking about you being computer literate or not. I'm just talking about making sure that your secretary actually sends out the right document, and you don't need to be computer literate to be able to tell that.
In that,
especially when you know that they are struggling, they are lacking here and there. When it comes to a final draft of a judgment.
In that instance, TCJ, once you push that button, because I was with Judge Dambuza even at the time, once you push that button, it's gone. And that is why I pleaded with Justice Dambuza. And in fact, she insisted that let's rather not use her and use her secretary. She was equally frustrated as I was.
All right. Lastly, you have also listed 4 parted matters. Those would be in your division in the Eastern Cape.
Yes.
How far along are they?
There are 3 of them are civil matters are going to be argued. This next week, I think it's next week in October. Second week of October, I think that it will be next week. The other one is a criminal matter. It's coming, I think, on the 28th of October. It's for argument, as well as them having filed an application that the prosecutor must recuse himself.
So you do attend to these matters during recesses?
Yes, I'm going to attend to them even starting next week, Monday.
All right. Thank you, Judge Makaula. Colleagues, do you have questions for the candidate? Commissioner Nyambi. President Betsy, Commissioner Steinberg. All right, Commissioner Nyambi, go ahead.
Thanks, DCJ. Afternoon, Judge Makaula.
Afternoon, Commissioner Nyambi.
It's only one question. It's a follow-up to the one that has been raised by the DCJ about that computer literate judgment.
Yes.
As you are not going to be privileged to be part of the closed deliberations when
Yes.
dealing with this issue, and DCJ was part of the people that dealt with that case.
That
Dealt with the case. As somebody who was not part of it, I'm more confused the more you're doing the explanation. Maybe if you can clarify why she is having that wrong information, but she was part of the very same case.
May I, with respect, ask which wrong information?
The wrong judgment that was submitted, we are saying it's the wrong judgment. It's saying, no, it was pen and printed. There were some challenges in terms of that judgment.
What happened is this, Commissioner Nyambi. The secretary I was allocated attended to the corrections. The corrections were there, the judgment was there. And what happens in the SA is that if you're dealing with one judgment, it gets circulated on numerous occasions. Not once. You can find that you circulate it 3-4 times a week. So what happened in this instance is that the judgment was, I received comments from colleagues. And then we adopted the comments. And then instead of her accepting the comments, she sent the judgment raw as it is, with the comments still in those colors without them having been accepted. Because once you accept them, then you won't see the colors or the comments made by your colleagues. I don't know whether it makes sense or
No,
not.
are you not the one that's supposed to make sure that what is sent by the secretary, it's what we have finally approved that she must
Yes, I
send?
am.
So where is the confusion still, if that's the case?
The confusion is that she sent a wrong judgment instead of sending a correct judgment. Because once you email them, you don't send a hard copy.
Let me put my last one. Probably as somebody acting in the SCA, what might be the challenges that are in the SCA with your experience?
The only challenge which I had is the question of the secretary. The only challenge which I had, and Judge Dambuza can attest to that. That's the only challenge which I had when it came there, when I came to the SCA. Other than that, the rest, it is okay. I worked very well at the SCA. Collegiality is there. Other than that, I had a challenge with the secretary.
Why was it not properly explained to all the other colleagues that were part of the very same case so that they are on the same page? Because we are picking somebody that is not part of us now, but we've got a DCJ that was part of that process and has got a different understanding so that there is no confusion.
I may have made a mistake because then I should have maybe circulated something to the panel. I may have made a mistake. It's an oversight on my part, surely. I should have explained to them. The only thing which we did is just we shifted and then we used Judge Dambuza's secretary because I was not making headway. I accept, you correct, I accept that I might have made a mistake in that regard.
Thanks, Judge Makaula. Thank you, DCJ.
Sorry, before I move
Follow
on, I just to be fair to you, Judge Makaula, because I will be talking about this at deliberations, and I don't want to mention facts there that I did not put to you here. I omitted to mention just one important thing, that the reason that I could not attend the conference of the final draft was because I had to leave for the Constitutional Court. The matter had been set down for conference, and you had gone home, and on the night preceding the day of the conference, I got a call from my secretary telling me that your secretary had called her to tell me that you could not make it to conference that Monday afternoon. She called me on a Sunday because you had gone home and you just would not be available. And I had actually been stunned by that because it was an old judgment. It had taken time just for the first draft to come out. And there had been, all sorts of dilly-dallying. And now something totally unprecedented for a scribe of a matter when there is a conference to go home and not come back on a work day because conference was set down for Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Can you just explain about that? I know that you have an explanation, but I'd like you to make it here.
I received a call from from my secretary on Sunday that there's a conference on Monday at 4. By then I was home and travel arrangements had been made. And my flight was arriving in Bloemfontein at 6:15 that Monday. I made a mistake and I admitted that mistake to both yourself. I'm sorry to say that is it
Yeah, that's fine.
DJB, yes, no, DCJ as well as AP. That I made a mistake. I should have called you on Sunday. Immediately when I got this information, I should have called you. I realized my mistake early on Monday morning, and I tried to call you. And having tried to call you, I even sent an SMS to you, apologizing. It was an error on my part. I accept it even today. I made a mistake, and I regret making that mistake.
Had you asked for permission to be away from the court on the Monday, which was a work day?
Not at all. I apologized for that, and I still apologize for that.
Last question, could you not have driven from your home back to Bloemfontein
I could.
in the early hours of the Monday so that you could be there at 4 p.m.?
I could.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Judge Makaula. Commissioner Malem?
I'm covered.
Minister?
Thank you, Justice DCJ, and afternoon, Judge Makaula.
Judge, good afternoon, Minister.
Yes, I'm also a bit confused on this issue of blaming the secretary. I want to understand, because my understanding is that even for a director of a firm, whatever that the secretary does, that person must take responsibility. And the person of your caliber as a judge, is it not a fact that if the secretary has sent that it's you who must take responsibility for whatever that she has sent, whether it's a mistake or not?
I accept that, Minister, wholeheartedly. I accept that I am responsible. I was merely explaining what happened. I really honestly accept it, and I apologized for it.
Yeah, my second
I
question.
can't run away from the fact that I am the responsible person. I am the person who has to take the fall.
Okay, no, I think now I'm clear now. The second one is on this issue of that you have just declared of being computer illiterate. Are you planning to take some courses, or is there anything that you're doing to improve this situation? Maybe you could explain today.
Yes, I'm really doing it now. I really am trying to edit the judgment and do all those things. I am taking steps to learn that.
Oh, okay. No, thank you, DCJ.
President Betsy?
Thank you, DCJ. Good afternoon, Judge Makaula.
Good afternoon, AP.
I'm looking at the feedback from the GCB concerning your reported judgments.
Yes, it is AP.
You have been a judge for 12 years,
Yes, AP.
and they've listed only 6 judgments that you wrote which found their way to Judicial's law reports and Butterworth's law reports.
Yes, AP.
Is that the sum total of your judgments that were reported over a period of 12 years?
Nope, it is not AP. It's only those which I referred to my in my questionnaire.
But
There are more than that. The reported judgments are more than that. That I have. I'm trying to find a repository which I was given by the researchers regarding those judgments. In fact, there are more than that, with AP.
because the GCB says we have considered the candidates' reported judgments,
Yes.
and they list only 6 judgments.
I thought those which they listed are those which I touched.
But you were given that document from the GCB,
Yes, I was.
and you have had it for quite some time, knowing that you'd be sitting there today.
Yes.
Let's deal with this Sikau judgment, because it appears that it is an albatross around your neck.
Yes, it is.
I'm hearing for the first time that you had endless difficulties with your secretary at the SCA.
Yes, I didn't report it to you.
You are the scribe. Many drafts float around. Is it not your responsibility as the scribe, once your judgment has been to conference and further edits take place there, to ensure that the judgment which you circulate as the final version, pre-delivery, is the one which receive the attention of every member of the bench at conference?
It is AP.
Did you then tell your secretary that this is the final version of my judgment, and this is the judgment that I now want you to circulate and send to the other members of the bench for them to have a preview of the judgment, which will be delivered in a day or 2 days or 3 days' time?
Yes, I did, AP. I told her, and then instead she sent a wrong one.
Despite the fact that you had identified to her which judgment to send?
Yes, AP.
Then a conference note is issued on a Friday, convening a conference in the afternoon of the following Monday.
Yes.
And it is now common cause that you did not attend that.
Yes.
And the reason is that you had gone home for the weekend
Yes, AP.
and that you had problems with flights.
Yes, AP.
But you knew even before you left Bloemfontein that you wouldn't be able to get to Bloemfontein on Monday, and that you would be away from court on Monday.
Yes, AP.
And you didn't find it necessary to make proper arrangements with the acting head of the court.
That was my mistake, AP. I made a mistake.
Is that not a manifestation of disrespect to the institution?
I wouldn't say so, AP, that I would go out of my way. I haven't done it in 13 years I've been a judge. I haven't shown any disrespect. And even when I came to your chambers to explain, I was hurting. Because it was a clear oversight on my part. And I was hurting to an extent that, I may mention this, to an extent that you even said that I should not punish myself that much. I was hurting because I don't want to appear in any sphere, and I haven't shown any disrespect to any elderly person for that matter, let alone to those who are above me at work.
And before you left for home, you had an occasion to accompany one colleague who had informed you that she wanted to come to me and remind me of the arrangements that she had made with me,
Yes, AP.
that she would be going home for the weekend.
Yes, AP Tina, I did.
And yet it didn't occur to you that you didn't get a flight on a Sunday to be able to be at work on Monday.
If I remember well, the itinerary had not come out by then because I decided late to go home on a Thursday, but I don't deny that. I don't deny it at all.
When you were being asked questions by the chair of the commission, you told the commission that you can write judgments on your own and you are satisfied that you've got what it takes to be a judge of the SCA. Did I hear you correctly saying that?
Yes, I'm of the same view that I can write judgments on my own.
Notwithstanding the many difficulties that were raised with you by the other members of the bench with whom you sat in this trial matter.
Come again, AP?
Despite the fact that there were concerns raised by the other members of the bench in this trial matter about the quality of the judgment that you have produced in that matter.
No, I haven't heard anything from the panel. Honestly, I haven't. I've not heard any of the panelists. Because if I remember well, it was the DCJ, it was Judge Dambuza, it was myself, it was Trevor, Judge Govan, and Makaula. They never raised any issues with me.
And all of them were happy with your first draft that you had circulated?
It had typographical errors, which they
No, on matters of substance.
No. The only person who raised issues of substance is Judge Dambuza. In fact, she inserted 2 paragraphs. The rest, it was cosmetic stuff. Then she only added 2 paragraphs.
So do I understand the position to be that in relation to all the judgments that you have written at the SCA, comments that you have received or you received from the other members were cosmetic changes only?
As far as I can recall, that is the position. Not unless maybe AP can refer me to a judgment. But in this trial matter, I'm certain. I am positive about this Tau matter.
There's a draft that you circulated last week.
In respect of which matter, DP?
Can you remember the name of the matter in which you circulated a judgment that
Circulated?
I had assigned to you to write?
Yes, the one you assigned to me to write,
Yes.
it's Placha Haumet, I think. Let me check. Yes, the Placha Haumet judgment. That's the Placha Haumet judgment, Mellet judgment. Then in respect of that one, I've only received from Clive.
You received comments from
From
one of
Judge
the members
Plaskett.
of the bench.
Yes, from Judge Plaskett. Then I received them, I think, on Friday. Friday morning.
Would you say that the suggestions that he gave you are merely cosmetics or
I wouldn't-
are matters of substance?
I wouldn't say they're cosmetic because what he did is instead of quoting sections, he paraphrased those sections. That's how I viewed his comments. And that's what he said to me because he came to my chambers. And he explained that, Mandela, what I did, instead of you referring to the text or to the contract itself, let's paraphrase it. And then I said, okay, I'll wait for other people to come up with idea with their suggestions.
Thank you, Judge Makaula. That's where I'll leave it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deciche.
Judge Makaula, it pains me to do this. I'd hoped that would not go this far. But I have to place this on record. My conscience won't rest. Still about this judgment. The colleague, because I was the presider in the matter, it was my responsibility to ensure that the judgment is produced. So I kept checking with you as well when the draft would be produced, because I was worried that I'm leaving the SCA, I'm going to another court, and I told you that I don't want to leave leftovers. I want my desk to be clear when I leave Bloemfontein. Yet the judgment was delayed. Now, you told me that you had asked for the help of one of the senior judges in the panel, which was fine. I had no problem with that. And when I did speak to that colleague, they told me how they had struggled with the first draft you produced, and that the main concern was not about the substantive issues you had got wrong, but that you could not even get the facts right. But then it was a heavily fact-laden matter. I understand that. It was a big matter. But there was that concern that at least insofar as just setting out the factual background, you should have got that right, that much. And that was the concern of this colleague. And I understood throughout that, but what bothers me now is this, I don't want to get, it's more like acting on hearsay now, but I had no reason to disbelieve a colleague who was being helpful when they told me what they told me. And I just want to place that on record so that it's out there. You may respond or not. You've already put your version that it was just typos that were affected to the draft. And I may just add, lastly, I promise I won't say anything more about Stau now, that even when, after all the rehabilitation that the other colleague had said they'd done to the judgment, when it came to me, when it finally came out, I also made substantive suggestions to your judgment. I'm speaking about what I myself did. And you know that.
Substantive.
Yes. Yes. I did, and I have proof. Maybe our definition of substantive and cosmetic are different, but I know that I made, it was a decent draft, but I still made substantive suggestions to that draft. I'm going to leave it there. You may respond if
You know,
you wish.
DCJ, it pains me. I'm pained. It really pains me.
So am I.
For someone to say that I could hardly produce the facts of an ordinary history which I've got.
That's the power coming back.
I still have. Sorry. I don't know. Yes, I still have the draft papers, which are handwritten now in manuscript. I still have them even now. I haven't destroyed those manuscripts. So it really hurts me for someone to say that I could hardly deal with the facts. And if you remember well, DCJ, I kept you posted. I sent you SMSs telling you the stage at which the judgment is.
All right. Thank you, Judge Makaula. We'll leave it at. Commissioner Steinberg, had you raised your hand at some stage?
I'm covered, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Matolo Lepu.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Justice. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Lepu.
Mine is just that I know that you explained the issue of the secretary, but do you think, because I don't want to remain with not understanding whether your secretary maybe needs training or there's something, because because there was something wrong with, because if the secretary sent a wrong judgment, she must have gotten it from you. I'm not sure. I still need that explanation.
She's more than 10 years, as I understand, in that court. She's more than 10 years. And Judge Tambuza, I cannot lie, Judge Tambuza is aware. The only problem I didn't do is to tell Judge Bates. Justice Bates or AP Bates, I'm sorry to say that. But Judge Tambuza know about the problem which I had with her. And to be honest, and if we speak honestly, that is exactly the reason why I changed and used Sibongiseni, who is the secretary to Judge Tambuza. It's because of the endless problems which I encountered from the secretary. And even the secretary of Judge Tambuza, she knows exactly. Because each time she sends a draft to her, then it comes back wrong. It's honesty. I can't be lying about this.
Just to follow up, Deputy Chief Justice, I'm trying to assist that maybe the secretary needs upskilling, or we can't leave him or her if she goes to an extent of making your life difficult. Should we not, because at least the head of the court is saying maybe she needs assistance.
And even in my absence, they can go to Judge Tambuza. She will be explaining exactly as I say.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Justice.
Thank you, Commissioner Dorothy. Commissioner Lucas?
Thank you very much, DCJ. Good afternoon.
Good
evening,
Commissioner.
Judge Makaula.
Good evening, Judge.
I should say I was extremely concerned when the issue was about the secretary. And I became more concerned when the head of the court was never informed about your challenges. Now, the first question that I want to ask you, as a very senior practitioner, as a judge or as an advocate or whatever you or say a jurist, you are experiencing a problem. How do you solve it what is the procedure at that court for resolving such an issue? That is my first question. Secondly, I get more confused because when you first started to say that there is a challenge with the administrative staff, you said that she took the report and you gave her all the amendments and they was never introduced into the document. Now at the end you say only 2 paragraphs.
Yes.
So I maybe it's English, I don't know. But also I'm taking into account of what the DCJ was saying, that some of them also made some amendments. But when you were speaking, you said all the amendments. So for us, it seemed as if there was quite substantial amendments to the issue or to the report. Now, and then in the middle, you say only 2 paragraphs by 1 person. And it's not, I mean, I don't want to seem as someone that are taking sides, but you are confusing me because I am not a legal person, but I'm getting confused because what is the procedure? And if there is no one else that amended, or if someone have amended and really you feel it is true, I don't think it will die if you say it is even yours that was not affected. But if someone putting it as a fact to you, I think there is a way to resolve the issue. But you are taking me up and down, and I should say, many of us that are sitting here have been heading offices before. And we know if your secretary works on a document, the last step before it goes out of your office is to make sure that what is going out of your office, you can identify with it. So it is, in actual fact, I'm very disappointed that the secretary is being now put in front of us in such a high-level panel where the whole country is watching you. You are actually shifting responsibility. That is my view, and you can dispute it, but you are shifting responsibility. And also, you have, in actual fact, you are aggravating the situation because in the first instance, I was like so perturbed with the secretary that can take a whole court report and not affect the amendments before it was sent out. Now you are saying it's just 2 paragraphs. Now it comes back to the fact that you are now saying others didn't make amendments. What is the true story? Please, Justice Makaula, assist us.
Yes, the true story is this. The secretary sent a wrong judgment. I should have seen to it that she sends a correct judgment. I am not shifting the blame to her. I am responsible for that judgment. I am responsible for the fault she has done. I am not running away from that. Regarding the judgment, I was only responding to the DCJ when she was saying that substantial changes were made on that judgment. The judge who is Judge Dambuza, when I sent the judgment to her, added 2 paragraphs and some type of attentions which I had to attend to. I don't know whether I answer your question.
I mean, what can I say? Thank you, DCJ.
Commissioner Notice?
Good evening, Justice Makaula.
Good evening.
3 things that I just want to focus on. 1, in respect of the comments that have been made against you, including those of PLA and GCP, all those bodies, they support the nomination. I've not seen a person or an organization that say you are not you are not fit for the SCA. Like the question from there, would you regard yourself that would you say you are an all-rounded person who would qualify to be judge of the SCA?
I would suggest that it's a subjective thing, and then subjectively speaking, I am. but viewed objectively by other people, they may come up with something different. But even the comments, the judgments themselves, the comments of the GCP, because the more detailed report is that of the GCP. It is more detailed. It comments on the judgments which I've attached. It comments on the quality of the judgments. It comments on any other aspect of the judgment, and even the other bodies.
Yes.
They comment on the linguistics, on the language, on the manner in which those judgments are written.
Yes.
But
And this
hence, I was taken aback when it was said I could not even summarize the facts.
I'm looking onto the BLA. If you notice, the BLA had two comments. The one is from the office of their president,
Yes.
and the one is from the office of their secretary.
Yes.
I'm not too sure whether these two, in the respect of you, I haven't checked properly. Do they speak to one and the same thing
No.
about you? Because it seems as if the president gives a different comment whilst the secretary gives a different comment.
No, they don't. The secretary gives. I think, as I understand, the comment of the secretary is that this was a matter which involved prescription. Then I should have I should have seized the opportunity of declaring the section unconstitutional, and then I'm not qualified.
Lastly, TCJ, I'm sorry, the last question. Look, I agree with the DCJ and the president of the SA in respect of questions relating to attending conference
Yes.
and other matters.
Yes.
But where my difficulty is in respect of comments into your judgment. In the SCA, you sit 5 judges. These comments, I'm not too sure what is their nature. Do they relate to the language used, the question of punctuations in the judgment? Bearing in mind that people do write assignment, 5 of them in one class, taking from the same book, but they will get different marks. I'm not too sure. I mean, what my question is, mainly is, in respect of the outcome of that judgment, that you did one of those judges come differently, or somebody even decided to write a dissenting to your reasoning on those judgments?
What pains me the most is this. If a judge, like we are 5, has made substantial changes, the judgment would not have come out in my name only. That's how I understand the procedure. It would never have come out on my name only, because the contribution he would have made would be substantial. And therefore we would, like for instance, we were sitting in a matter with Judge Bonan as well as Judge Patswana. Judge Bonan came back with substantial changes to the judgment. And when we were conferencing, he said, because I've made these judgments, these comments, I think we should, both of us, be the authors of this judgment. Rather than being me or be you, then both of us should be. So I would have expected that if that be the case in the Stau matter, then surely I would not have come out as the only scribe or as the only author of that judgment. And I'm sorry if I may comment if DCJ allows me. Regarding the matter which AP is asking me about today, that there was a comment or a judgment which was referred. In that matter, it's just that, I just want to explain this. Judge Plaskett came to me with his own suggestions. We are a panel of 5. He came back with his suggestions. I haven't received 4. And I did not accept those changes which Judge Plaskett came up with. I did not. I said, okay, Clive, put it on my desk, then I'll wait for the other comments. Thank you very much, Judicial.
All right. Any further questions for the candidate, colleagues? Prof?
Thank you very much, Deputy Chief Justice. Good evening,
Good
Judge.
evening, sir.
I think let's talk law now,
Yes.
and just take a break from the issues of the court itself. There is a judgment. Let me just make sure. Yes, there is a judgment that you penned, AR versus HR. It is a judgment. It's an insolvency law matter, where
AR versus?
HR.
I don't have it.
You don't oh,
I don't
then it
have
will
it,
be a
I'm
little bit
sorry.
unfair for me to
I
to
don't
ask
have
you
it.
on it.
I've got the others. I'm honest with you.
Yeah,
Was it penned by me? If you may recall
it appears so,
if you
Makaula.
have the facts, most probably I would be in a position to recall.
This is this was an application by an ex-wife for insolvency, for compulsory insolvency, because there was outstanding area maintenance.
Yeah, no, it's not.
You don't recall? Oh, okay. No, that's fine. I will leave it there.
No. Because the only matter which deals with spouses is the Makaula matter, which I dealt with. Not the same.
No, it's fine. Perhaps
Yes,
maybe
thank
it's a
you.
different judge with the same name.
Thank
I'm not
you.
really sure. Yes.
Have you finished? Oh, thank you. Colleagues on the virtual platform, do you have questions for Judge Makaula?
I have no questions. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
And you too, Commissioner Panat, is he still there?
I'm still here. No questions, Deputy Chair.
Okay. Well, we have reached the end of your interview, Judge
Thank you
Makaula.
very much,
Thank you.
DCJ.
You're excused.
Thank you.